Recovery Louisville is an intensive outpatient program. So we offer IOP treatment for people that are suffering with addiction issues. It's approximately an 8-week IOP program. One of the things that Recovery Louisville does is help provide transitional housing to people. One of the foundational things in early recovery is a safe place to live, a sober place to live, and if you're trying to get sober and trying to make changes, but you're going home and it's maybe not a good environment for you, then the chances that you're going to be successful are pretty small. So we provide sober transitional housing for any client that needs it at no cost to them, including meals. So it's just one less thing for somebody to worry about. When you're in early recovery, there's already enough for you to deal with. You're trying to fit into this new lifestyle. You're trying to, change so many things, reintegrate into your families, friends, where you're going to place your head down at the end of the day shouldn't be also something that you're worrying about, and whether or not that's a safe environment for you. On top of IOP programming, we offer targeted case management, peer support services, both group and individual peer support services throughout the week. Individual counseling, if anybody needs individual counseling, we help people get plugged into those services as well. So really the whole gamut of anything that you might need while you're in early recovery. We want to do as many things as we possibly can to bring down those barriers to treatment and bring down those barriers to the recovery process. So, it depends. If it's IOP treatment, so you can live at home if you'd like to, and we have lots of clients that do that, and they live at home and they just come on site for their groups and their sessions with their clinician, intake assessments, things like that. But if you're going to be living on property, it's a little bit different. We want to prepare people for a life in recovery. A lot of people move into transitional housing, especially when they're early on in recovery, so we want to create an environment that's similar to that. So if you're living on our property in our transitional housing, you'll have some sort of chore that you might do. Everybody's assigned a chore, and everybody kind of takes care of their own living area. So you wake up, you might go have breakfast, you might do your chore or whatever that might be, sweeping the floor, cleaning up your room, and after that, depending on the day, so our IOP groups don't run every single day of the week. So depending on which group you're in, you're in group 3 days a week. But you might have a peer support session. So our first peer support group is at 10 a.m. on Monday morning. So you might go into a peer support session, and then depending on whether or not you're on property, or you might be away at work. So in our program, you're able to go out and work your first or second shift job. But if you're on property, there's a 12-step meeting that you can attend, and then there's additional, if our IOP group on Mondays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So you might then enter into your IOP group, and then the remainder of the day is yours. We have a curfew just like any transitional house would, but if you leave to go to work, or you want to enjoy your day, then your time is yours. IOP really provides people with a lot of freedom to kind of make their own schedule. Outside of your clinical appointments, really your time is yours. Recovery Louisville is really solution focused and practical. So we try to structure our IOP programs around kind of using the knowledge that you have in recovery and helping you apply it to your everyday life. It's one thing to know a lot about the recovery process, and it's something else to actively be engaged in doing the recovery process. So the majority of our groups are really kind of focused on helping you develop the skills to really apply the knowledge, if you already have it, the recovery knowledge that you already have, and kind of applying it to your everyday life. So we try to stay focused on the issues that people are really facing, and kind of giving people a platform within a group setting to discuss those things together. Usually people are facing a lot of the same issues, so it helps to discuss those things together. We also follow the Hazelden Living in Balance curriculum, so all of our clinicians and counselors kind of have that as a baseline, but also really try to make sure that our groups are focused on what the clients actually need. So we get a lot of feedback from the people that are in group, and kind of really try to structure our process around what people's individual needs are. So Recovery Louisville is a Medicaid program. So we accept all of the Kentucky Medicaid insurances right now. There is a private pay option, and you pay per service. So if you were going to decide to private pay, you would come in and meet with our clinical team and our intake team, and kind of determine what level of service we think is best for you, and what level of service you think is best for you, and kind of come to that together. And then you would pay individually per service. So each of our IOP groups is $125 per session, and that's for 3 hours of IOP treatment. We also do psychosocial assessments, which are $78 and that's about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on the individual sit-down assessment. So those are our primary private pay options. One of the things that Recovery Louisville, like I said, we really want to bring down barriers to treatment. So if anybody has a copay for for any of their services, we write those off as a loss. So we don't collect any copays, because we don't want for that to be a barrier for somebody that's really trying to get sober. We know that decision comes quickly, and we want people to be engaged in the recovery process as soon as we possibly can. It's an amazing program. I've been in the recovery field for quite some time, and it's an amazing program. It's an interesting kind of cross, because we do provide that transitional housing, and we do provide those meals at no cost to the client. It's really an opportunity to fill a need in the recovery community, and that's one of the things that I'm most proud of.
Chronic alcoholic from the age of 13, and couldn't finish nothing, couldn't hold on to a job. Great doing these things, but on the weekends I would incorporate my lifestyle into the streets. Due to alcohol, it just sent me to penitentiary twice to supply my habit. Problems with family and things of that nature, just obtaining things and losing them to addiction. Well, I've tried many programs, such as intern treatment, I guess you would call it, and it just didn't go over well with me, because I like to be held accountable for things I do, so I left programs because of being held accountable for things I have no knowledge of. But in this program, the Olive program, for the first time I tried it, it was more family orientated, and you hold yourself accountable. You with the freedom that you have here, it's more life on life to what you deal with when you're out on your own. And they give you the tools to use, as far as living life on life, such as the IOP classes, the things that you obtain in there as well, like how to be responsible, being able to work and have those stresses that you have on everyday life upon you as you're in here. So you get to learn how to, incorporate the temptation because it's there in this program with the freedom that you have. And just the tools and the peer support, like I say, it's more family orientated and they show a lot of concern. More concern, it's more one on one. It just reminds me of so much of like the family I had lost due to my addiction being here that kept me here and wanted to do better in life. The very first time, I'm a repeat offender because expectations and making compromises, and not being able to change my perspective. I learned these 3 words this last time here that seemed to be a big problem of mine. But the very first time I come here would be 2016, I believe, was the first time that I've ever tried it, that I really seen a change in my behavior and work ethic. I had graduated, and a woman came into play, and I blamed her for a relapse, but all in all, it's just because I didn't take the tools that I learned from being in Allah. 6 months ago, I got over here. I went through detox 4/4/20 of this year, and 5 days after that, I re-entered to Allah. So they have good hearts, and I guess they see my progress and was willing to open their arms to me. And one more time, before I can have another chance at life. Well, I have long-term goals. I have to say, I want to do this. I want to go into recovery because I have a genuine concern about life, and I know how addiction works in my life. So if I feel like I could be a great necessity to someone else, just my story alone, to help somebody. So I really want to take these peer support classes and just go as far as in recovery as well staying sober myself, because I get enjoyment out of seeing somebody just break through, So I know this is what I'm going to do. The message is be give Allah a chance because, like I say, you incorporate life on life, living just right here while helping yourself, but you must obtain the material and apply it in your everyday life. It's it's critical that you use the tools and what you learn here to stay. It's definitely to be used in everyday life. It's more along the lines of a transfer of energy. I call it a spiritual awakening. I mean, it's definitely you're gonna change whether you know it or not if you stick around long enough to just stick around. At the end of the day, if you stick for the 2 months, they have an aftercare program as well. That's 2 more months. So it's just amazing how it works in your life. And you're gonna change whether you like it or not if you just stick and stay.